The world has been fighting COVID-19 since late 2019. As a response to fight the pandemic, governments around the world have relied on technology and data in their efforts to contain the spread of the virus. The government of India launched an app called Arogya Setu. Now, chances are that by now you have either heard about the app and consider downloading it, or it's already sitting on your smartphone. Now, how does this app work? The app shares data about you via your Bluetooth, which leads to contact tracing that allows you to know if you have come in contact with someone who has been infected by COVID-19. In all fairness, an app like this could be very useful given the current times we are in, but it also raises questions about the way the data is being collected and stored, and more importantly, what happens to the data in the longer term. Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Megha Vishwanath, and joining me right now for an exclusive conversation right here on CNBC TV 18 are the team of the Arogya Setu app, Ajay Kumar Sani, Secretary at the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and Lalitesh Katragadda, who's one of the makers and one of the man behind making this app. Also joining me right now is my colleague Mugdha Warrior from Bengaluru. Gentlemen, thank you so much for speaking to us on CNBC TV 18. Ajay, let me start this conversation with you. Talk to us about the impact of the application that it's had so far. How many hotspots has the app helped identify? How many people have been alerted based on the risk of getting infected by the virus? Could you share some numbers with us?
Yes, first of all, I think this app has been downloaded by around 9.8 crore people, or 98 million people so far. And this has happened in a very short time frame, making it probably the fastest to get to this kind of number. But we are not really looking at records or anything in this. We would like to promote use of this app by as many Indians as possible, because it helps us tremendously in fighting the spread of the virus. The number of Arogya Setu positive users who have downloaded and made this app active on their smartphones is a little short of 13,000. And based on those 13,000 users who were found to be COVID positive, we have been able to trace and alert around 1 lakh and around 40,000 users so far through their Bluetooth contacts. These are users who would, in the absence of this app, not had any way of getting to know that they had been in touch or they were in close proximity to someone who could have been infected at that stage. So by providing these early alerts to these users, it gives them an opportunity to self-isolate, to go into home quarantine, to be on the lookout for symptoms. And in case the symptoms appear, they again get guided as to how to look for services, for testing or for hospitalization or for any other medical services and advice that they might require.
Okay. Mr. Sani, this is Mugdha here, and I wanted to ask you about the protocol that was released today called the Arogya Setu Data Access and Knowledge Sharing Protocol. And, within that, there is an explicit sunset clause that is mentioned that says that this protocol will be in force for 6 months and that contact and location data can be stored for up to 180 days. But this is slightly different from what we see in the privacy policy of the app even currently, which says that the data on the mobile devices will be stored only up to 30 days, while the data on the government servers will be stored till up to 45 to 60 days, depending on whether the person is tested positive or not. So really, can you give us some clarity on how many days really will the data be finally stored with the government?
Yes, this is in addition to what has been stated in the privacy policy. Whatever has been stated in the privacy policy is fully applicable. What it says in the privacy policy is that where the data is stored, data pertaining to Bluetooth contacts and GPS, etc., which is stored on your mobile in an encrypted manner is concerned, that data will be removed after 30 days, which means it's a rolling 30 days, which means that tomorrow data which was stored 31 days ago on your mobile taking into account tomorrow would be automatically removed from your mobile. And there is also a stipulation of 45 days, and of 60 days is the maximum which is indicated there, which is in case of data pertaining to someone who has tested positive, and beyond the time that the person is found to be cured of COVID-19, a maximum of 60 days beyond that, the data would be kept on the server, and after that, that data would also be deleted. This 180 days is a broad overall limit to once again give complete assurance to everyone that in 180 days, the entire data which is collected would be removed, and it will not be any personally identifiable data will not be stored for any purpose after that.
Okay, Mr. Sahni, before I move on to Lalitesh, let me quickly check on one thing that you've said today, that the Arogya Setu app only takes Bluetooth and GPS data for the last 15 days, for which you have given a clarification as well. But the fact that no other data will be used is very different from having access to any other data. So could you clarify that does the app have access to other data?
Let me clarify what this app does. It is explained in a tremendous amount of detail in the privacy policy. It is also explained in tremendous amount of detail in the frequently asked questions section that has been made available on the app itself. See, this app, initially when you download and register for using this app, the app also invites you to undergo a self-assessment. And as part of that self-assessment, you give certain personal details, which includes your age, your gender, your whether you have any of the ailments, which might make you at high risk if you get this virus, your travel history, and also whether you are seeing any symptoms like cough or fever or breathlessness, or any combination of these. So this data is initially taken onto the server, and it is kept in an encrypted manner on the server itself. After that, the data pertaining to Bluetooth contacts is stored on your mobile itself in an encrypted manner. And that data is taken to the server only if you test positive.
All right. Speaking of encryption, let me get Lalitesh here at this point now. Lalitesh, the Niti Aayog CEO, Amitabh Kant, has today said that the Arogya Setu data is only shared with the government officials, which is what Mr. Sahni is also saying, and he's giving a clarification on that. But he also used the term highly encrypted. I just want to ask you three questions. The fact that, that this data is being shared with government officials. So who are these government officials? Which departments have access to this data? And what does highly encrypted mean?
See, anytime we store data at rest, so anytime it's not in memory and it's going and being stored in the disk or the database, all such data, like any good, high security system, is going to be encrypted and stored at rest, right? And the other aspect of high security is that we separate the personally identifiable information that the user has, specifically their name and phone number. We keep that separate than the rest of their data, which is then used for various analysis and interventions and so on. And the name and the phone number of the person is only joined with the rest of the data when that person is deemed to be at risk and they need a specific intervention. Somebody needs to call them, or they need to be tested and so on, or the data needs to be sent to answer your question. For example, if you're determined that certain people are at risk because they came in contact through Bluetooth tracing with other people who were infected, then that cohort who is determined to be at risk and they need to be tested or they need to be home quarantined, that information is sent to the relevant state via the health ministry, so that specific action can be taken where they can be told what home quarantine means, or they can be tested. So, and the general nature of this exercise is that
Okay.
there are many parts of the government which are involved in providing COVID interventions, and all of them are known to everybody. And those departments, when necessary, on a need-to-know basis, have access to this data.
Okay. Mr. Shani, let me come to you, also with a very serious issue that has come up, and that the debate around, the app being made mandatory by the government, even for, services such as traveling to another state, or, some states have also said that people may face arrest or have to pay a fine if they do not have the app. Now, firstly, the app is available only for smartphone users, and we understand that you're bringing it to the Geo feature phones soon, but even then, there's a risk of large section of the population being excluded and facing discrimination because they do not have the app. So how are you looking to address that?
Yeah, we would not want anyone to face discrimination on account of not having the app installed or working on their phones. I think it is fairly clear that anyone who does not have a smartphone or is not ordinarily a user of a smartphone or a phone which is capable of running this app obviously cannot be expected to be using such an app. Okay, so that is the very first clarification that I would like to give. In addition to that, we believe that this app is something which is very useful for an individual, for his family, for the community, for anyone he or she comes in contact with. And the attractiveness of this service itself is a very strong reason for people to opt to download and to make use of this app. It helps them protect themselves. It helps them protect their family. It helps them, avoid unwittingly carrying the infection to others.
Okay. Okay, Lalitesh, let me quickly come to you. And of course, we'd reached out to the ecosystem as well. The fact that we were doing this discussion. And this question is coming from Apar Gupta from Internet Freedom Foundation. And he asks that how was the decision made to seek an Arogya Setu usage compulsory by the Ministry of Home Affairs? Now, this is a question that many have asked because this is the first time any democracy in this world had made use of a COVID-related app mandatory. So what is the view of designers and volunteers? We just heard Mr. Saini talk about why the government decided to make this mandatory. But for someone who was actually designing the app, what's your view on making this mandatory across India? Also, I would like to throw in another question. Do you support criminal prosecution of people who do not install Arogya Setu app? And if not, then as volunteers, what is your role in the implementation and the installation targets for it?
Yeah, I'm not sure where that is coming from, this criminal prosecution business. I'm actually not heard of it through any official channels. But as far as, mandatory is concerned, my understanding, I think Mr. Sahani can clarify that further. My understanding is that the making of this mandatory is for specific services where other people might be put at risk if there are people who are at risk are traveling with others, for example, and so on. But and this is policy making. I think all of this is based on 2 lines in a long document, and I think the better thing to do is to get that clarified versus do some fear mongering based on a couple of lines on a document.
But were you aware while making the app that this is going to be made mandatory for all users to download?
No, I was not. And like Mr. Sahani clarified, it is not really mandatory, it is best effort.
It cannot be mandatory for a person who does not have a smartphone or who does not ordinarily use that kind of a smartphone or any other device.
That's a technical barrier, sir. That's a technical barrier. That's a technical barrier. So you're saying it's not mandatory for those who does not have a smartphone, but that's a technical barrier. But does that goes to say that it is mandatory for people who have a smartphone? Is that going to be something that we will do?
It's on a best effort basis. It is on a best effort basis.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We will have to take a quick break and continue this conversation on the other side. But for our viewers watching in, don't go anywhere. The conversation is just getting started with the makers of Arogya Setu app. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Startup Street, and we are talking about the Arogya Setu app. Let's go to Lalitesh, who is one of the makers of the app. Lalitesh, my question to you is, even Google and Apple decided to come together to create a contact tracing app, but then they said that they do not want to use GPS. They do not want to access GPS on the phone, and even several apps made by different governments across the world also do not use the GPS. So, can you tell us what is the purpose of access to GPS in the Arogya Setu app, and was there any form of collaboration that the government looked at here in India while you were making the app with Google and Apple for their contact tracing app?
So couple of data points. One is that we launched the app, completed and launched the app well before Google announced that they're working with Apple, right? So the discussion of collaboration didn't even begin because this happened independent of Google and Apple. And the other thing I would like to say for other efforts around the world, other efforts around the world have been contact tracing only. Right? Arogya Setu is far, far, far more than contact tracing. It also includes this new field that we created called syndromic mapping. And what we mean by syndromic mapping is it is based on a science called syndromic surveillance, which means that health workers and health worker designates would figure out where symptoms are and map them. And obviously, we do not have the wherewithal to take a country of 1.35 billion and have health workers and doctors map every infection that comes up everywhere. So we decided that we will turn to the people, given that this is a country of the people, and have them map what they are feeling like and what their symptoms are. This is obviously noisy, and it is much, much harder to do.
Yeah.
But we have been able to successfully do that, and the results are showing that when we are figuring out potential hotspots based on this data with a whole bunch of statistical learning systems, we are seeing extraordinary results in being able to identify hotspots that need attention.
Okay. Before I move on, Lalitesh, let me ask you a quick follow-up question. Of course, you have mentioned this before, clarifying as to why you use GPS on the app is purely to identify hotspots. But can I ask you, which state governments have provided feedback on such hotspot calculation and this method that you just spoke about? Or is it just the center getting data? Who eventually has access to this GPS data that gets collected?
Yeah, so what we do is, interestingly, this GPS data, both when people express symptoms and when somebody is infected, their GPS history is put through a process of something we call hard anonymization. Right? Hard anonymization means that we don't need the GPS data of any one individual. We mix up the data of multiple individuals, keeping information about which of these points are infected, which of these are symptomatic, and which symptoms they were. And we then use the aggregate map of, imagine the aggregate map of symptoms of all the, 6 crore people who have taken, self-assessment, and the thousands of people who have tested positive, layered on the map. And then from that map, we figure out the hotspots that are emerging, and we use that information. So the GPS data is actually not going to anybody. It's just being used by data scientists from various institutes, the anonymized data, to figure out the syndromic mapping exercise.
Okay, before I wrap up, Mr. Thani, let me quickly ask you one question. We're running out of time, but can you tell us who is the top official government in charge of Arogya Setu? Is it the IT secretary? Is it Niti Aayog? Is it the deputy chairman of the health secretary? Where does the buck stop regarding Arogya Setu?
I think I'm the chairperson of the Empowered Group 9, and the buck stops with me as far as any shortcoming in the app is concerned. But there are large number of persons, both from the private sector, from within the government, from NIC, and volunteers who have joined in, professors who have joined in from IIT Madras and IISc, who are contributing tremendously. And the credit lies to them.
So NIC, that's what you would say would be the answer to this question?
Yes, the DG of NIC is the mission leader for this entire effort. We have a project head within NIC, but I am there as the as the chairman of the Empowered Group for Technology and Data Management. So if there are any shortcomings, I have to sort of help.
Then we reach out to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Then we reach out to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We have a lot more questions and we could not pack that all in this special. So since you have given us that permit, I think we will continue this conversation with you and Lalitesh very soon. But for now, thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of Startup Street. With that, it's a wrap. But don't go anywhere. More news and updates continue on the other side.